Well, what's the topic du jour?
I am autistic myself. I kind of delved down the rabbit hole of nutritional science, and I also work with neuroscientists. The topic today is about Okinawans. I am Japanese. So we have to make the distinction in respect to Okinawans. Okinawans have their own culture, they have their own language. So do not mistake Okinawans as Japanese. We are a part of one whole nationality, Japanese, but within Japan, just like Hawaiians in America, they're Okinawans. We're talking about blue zones today. So there's a guy named Dan Buettner. He's the one who wrote the Blue Zones book about what the best diet is. And unfortunately, he's a vegan vegetarian. He has his agenda. He's only going to take the information that he wants. And get this, people, he is a journalist. We'll know that journalists tend to exaggerate, tend to extract what they want, and then they take it and then they just throw it on the public. With that being said, I can tell you for a fact, false, that Okinawans are plant-based diet.
Pork is the most important food in Okinawa. We often say that we eat all parts of the pig except oink.
And why do I say we? Is because I grew up with Okinawans and I grew up with what they ate. I know what they ate. I can tell you for a fact, pork belly, huge in Okinawa. And it's yummy, very, very yummy. Just to back it up is they have a pig called the agu. Agu is specifically native to Okinawa. It has been that way for hundreds and hundreds of years. They have diminished, unfortunately, due to climate or political, like you said, political issues. But,
like World War II.
And exactly, World War II was the other one. But they already actually experienced famine prior to that. After World War II, it was chaos. They, experienced famine. There were suicide bombings because they didn't want to be captured, because the people, the government people were telling them, if you get captured, you're going to be raped, killed, blah, 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 tortured. Not all of them decided to suicide, or some of them bombs detonated, but they didn't die. So some of them ended up going to these camps to surrender. I'm sure there was bad stuff that happened, but at the same time, there are other parts where you have pictures of soldiers feeding little Japanese children cans of beef, cans of pork. So that's where they got Spam. Spam has been a huge part of their culture. Japanese and Okinawans are very, very hospitable. They will cater to you to make you feel comfortable, that's what I love about our culture. I bet whenever whoever went to the centenarians' homes, the centenarians gave them more vegetables. They gave them more things that didn't have meat in it, because they knew that person ate vegetarian, vegan, whatever. They're gonna try to be hospitable, but probably cook stuff with pork fat. But I think American diet has crossed over to Japan a lot, to where they also believe that vegetables is more important. That's why I can't say nowadays, are they really healthy? Centenarians now, are they living without pain, without suffering, without blah, blah? Maybe lower, but I bet you they're suffering from a lot now.
When Ansel Keys is collecting his information for the 20 country study, that was one of those modern examples when the Okinawan pig population was decimated by the war. Yep. So obviously people need an alternative. And then there's a lot of economic depression, so people just can't afford as much meat, so they start eating more pasta and stuff like that. That's less expensive. Because you go back even in Italy and in Greece and stuff, the farther back you go, the more meat they ate. Like you said, there's a lot of pork, a lot of beef, and of course a lot of seafood.
It's hard for me to say specifically. Yeah, I believe that Japanese people were heavy on one diet or other. I believe they had a good balance, I would say. I think that they were very emphatic about nose to tail. They ate almost every part of the animal. But what to me might have been a really big factor, the hormesis, stressors that they experienced as they were growing up, that made them more resilient. So like the famine that they experienced, their body just went into autophagy, try to survive, the survival mode, all of that pushed back like all these health issues later. But they experienced them just later. That is a theory of mine. They're looking at now. No, sometimes it's not even about now. It's about what did they do when they're younger? And unless you're a centenarian and you watch their entire life, I don't think you can figure it out. I think it's really hard.
The effect that famine has on people extends to their offspring. When people experience famine, particularly for a long period of time, there's epigenetic changes that are passed on to their offspring.
Instead of concentrating on only the blue zones, I think what would actually help to figure out the blue zone is if you look at the people who are centenarians that are living in places that are heavily with poor diet, heavily with all these terrible things, but yet survive with a long lifespan. Why is that? If you can narrow it down to that one thing, that would probably explain why the blue zones are the way they are. The vision is too small.
Well, there's a lot that's been written to sort of debunk the blue zone thing. It seems like people have poked so many holes in it that it's hard to tell where exactly the truth is.
Why would Okinawan's diet work for them to live a long life, but not necessarily for other people? There's a reason for that. I think that Okinawans typically have metabolic health more so than anywhere else. We've damaged ourselves so much. I include myself as an American because I ate cereals. I ate all these kinds of things, unhealthy processed foods growing up. I don't think Okinawan diet would work for most of us who have been on this processed diet for too long. It would, you know what I mean? You'd have to go back to basics. Our base diet, what is it? It's been proven that we are carnivore for the most part of our existence. We would thrive on that. Those who are metabolically healthy can handle a little bit of plant toxicity. If you look at the places like the Sardinians and Okinawans, back then, they really didn't have a lot of industrial revolution happening in that time. It was still very rural. I don't think you can apply what they eat now or within the last 20 years towards longevity. Same effect. You just can't.